The vicious cycle is something that impacts every single one of us, regardless of whether we're a man or a woman or African American, Hispanic, Latino, Caucasian. It impacts every single one of us because movement is so essential to our health. When we look at the medical vicious cycle, we start with joint pain. And joint pain is so common, especially among adults. And so when we get joint pain, particularly knee pain, we stop moving. We decrease our level of physical activity, but we eat the same, so we gain weight. And that added weight puts more pressure on the joint, increasing the pain, further lowering our level of activity, driving more obesity. And so we're in this vicious cycle.
My knees they hurt, arthritic, because of the gain of weight. It's really come on like gangbusters. This is the heaviest I've been in my entire life, and I'm not liking it. It's very problematic. You find that there are things that you thought you were able to do before, they become a chore to do now.
I was weighing to 67 pounds, and I started with pain. I got pain in my legs. I got a lot of pain in my knees and in my hips. They treat me with some kind of chat in my back. That's helped me a lot, and I have been with medication for that pain.
According to the National Institute of Health, 39.6% of U.S. adults are obese. African American women have the highest rate of obesity, with 4 out of 5 women being overweight or obese. Among Hispanic American women, 78.8% are overweight or obese, compared to just 64% of non-Hispanic white women. For every 10 pounds of overweight, that's 60 pounds of added pressure on your knees.
In my community, 53% of the people in my community are overweight. 93% have type 2 diabetes. They're dying from diabetes, obesity, heart disease, arthritis, and it's the norm, and we kind of accept it.
So with my obese patients, as a primary care physician, I see a ton of other comorbidities. They'll have hypertension, they'll have diabetes, they'll have joint pain, especially the knees, more pressure on the knees. More pressure on the knees mean I'm still gonna be immobile. Now I can't move around as much as I'd like to, so now I'm gonna gain more weight. So you just sort of get into this vicious cycle. Now, if you factor in the other comorbidities like heart disease, diabetes, mental health issues like depression, because now you're depressed because you're obese, you're not moving around, you're gaining more weight. You factor all those things in, and this is what we call this vicious cycle.
My mom died in October, and my weight was at 260 and increasing. Food had become my comforter, my friend, my be-all, but the end result of that was that I found myself in this endless cycle where my weight continued to balloon and I couldn't see my way out.
So if you really want to start living, you need to start moving. Being able to move allows us to live our best life. It allows us to do the things that matter to us, to engage.
I wanted to attend my daughter's graduation, her high school graduation. And I was so proud of her. Top of her class, she was a valedictorian. It was a dinner that she was to attend. And she could bring, someone with her. She really wanted me to be there. Excuse me. But I couldn't make it. Because of my weight, I felt, what am I going to wear? Or when I get there, will I be able to sit, with everybody else? So I missed that. My daughter now, she's a sophomore in college. I want to be there when she graduates.
So when you can't move the way you want to do, it affects everything because it affects things that make you happy. So being able to go see family members, being able to go to work, being able to go to your church, being able to visit grandchildren and things. Just so I counsel my patients to start with the small things. We find 1 or 2 small actionable steps that we can take. We start with possibly, hey, can you park a little bit further from the grocery store? Or can you walk a half a block around the house, around the block before you go home? One small step forward really can lead to huge changes in your overall health.
Wyoming has 65% are overweight and obese, and that's pretty significant. I think obesity is many things, but living in a rural environment where there's long distances between towns and communities, people drive a lot today, so they're not necessarily as active as in the olden days when people walked distances. In our busy society, as women, I think that many times you're taking care of family. You also have a job. You have to prepare meals. And all of that can take a lot of time. And so when you're in a hurry, it's so much easier to maybe go to the drive-up window and get a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken for dinner.
Well, I think part of it comes from poverty because, and I found that out for myself, it's very expensive to eat right. It's expensive to eat healthy, to eat fresh vegetables and fresh fruits and things like that. And it's easier to, when you're on a fixed income, and many people here are on a fixed income, it's easier to eat out of a box. It's easier to eat from a can. And all those things are processed and have all that added sugar and all that added fat and all the added sodium. And so all those things contribute to things like heart attack and stroke and diabetes and cardiovascular issues.
We have many obstacles to breaking the vicious cycle, especially in the Hispanic and Latinx community in South Texas. As an example, many people live in colonias, which are areas where you're living that don't have running water, may not even have electricity, there's poor transportation, and so you don't have parks nearby or any place where you can actually get exercise. And many people work 2, maybe even 3 jobs and live paycheck to paycheck. And when they get home, they just want to eat a quick meal that may not be very healthy, and they don't want to exercise, they just want to go to sleep.
There are many social determinants that impact communities of color and rural America. But the common thread in these communities that are experiencing health disparities is poverty, lower access to good, high-quality health care, access to healthy foods, safe places for people to walk, exercise, be outside with their families. So all of these factors come into and create this constellation of barriers for people to embrace individual behavior change that will promote their health.
So start moving, start living for my patients and in my practice means you need to keep moving. So my job is to keep them moving so they can live their best lives.
So start moving, start living means to me that you're going to be getting up off the couch one step at a time. But one step at a time moves into maybe a block, maybe 2 blocks.
Movement is the center of life. It is the thing that unifies everything we do. Can you really live a good life or a quality of life if you're not able to move, if you're not able to engage with those you love and do the things you enjoy?
Movement is life. Movement is the way to break that vicious cycle.